Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Administrative Issues and Updates on October 28, 2025. And welcome back, County Administrator Gary Schmidt. Would you please do us the honor of doing the roll call?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Commissioner Savas is out of the office at a State Transportation Committee meeting. Roll call, Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner Helm.
Here.
Chair Roberts.
Here. Thank you. Gary, would you introduce our first agenda item for today?
Yes, thank you. First item is delegation of signing authority for Lynch versus Clackamas County Settlement Agreement. Sarah Foreman, Assistant County Counsel, will present.
Good morning, Commissioners. We talked about this in executive session last week. I just need signing authority for a settlement agreement that will be filed with the Federal Circuit Court or Federal District Court for Lynch versus many counties.
Can you say what the topic is, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a motion to delegate signing authority for a settlement agreement.
No, what is the case about?
Oh, sorry. The case is a federal class action lawsuit regarding foreclosure properties and the retainage of the surplus.
Great, thank you. Questions, colleagues? It's been discussed. May I have a motion?
Chair, I move that we, Chair, I move that we delegate authority to the county council to sign the settlement.
Second.
All right. Commissioner West has moved to delegate authority to county council to sign the settlement. Commissioner Helm has seconded that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Gary.
Thank you, Sarah. Next is the Board Strategic Plan Implementation Update. Nancy Bush, County Operating Officer, will present. Go ahead, please, Nancy.
Good morning, Commissioners. So I'm here today just to update you, give you a brief update on the 2025-2030 strategic plan update. As you know, in July, you formally adopted a new strategic plan for the next 5 years. There's 5 overarching goals, and under that, there's a total of 10 strategic goals. Each of the strategic goals has an implementation team. Each implementation team has met at least once. In their first meeting, they actually came together and met to determine strategies, action items, potential partnerships, and also needed resources. The documents that they came up with from that initial meeting were looked at by the county administration staff and were eventually approved by the county administrator. So moving forward from here, because we're kind of all just getting started, each team will complete a monthly report, which will be turned into the county administrator as well as myself for review. And in the future, the county administrator will be giving you frequent updates on what's been going on with the teams. And also, each team will have opportunities to seek out some guidance from the board if they have any questions regarding what you may have met, like a definition of a term, those types of things, just to make sure that everyone's on the same page. The BCC will have a formal discussion in public on February 3rd of next year. And each team lead will come in to provide that update. And that's all I got for you. It's a very brief update today.
Any questions?
No, I
Right.
just am grateful that childcare is on the list. Thank you.
And Gary, any other comments you might have on
Yeah,
this?
so staff did a really, really very good job preparing these implementation plans for your 10 priorities, your 10 goals within your 5 priorities. I'm very pleased by what I saw. I emailed them to you a few weeks ago, so you could see them in detail. I will give you frequent updates, as Nancy mentioned, but I'm very pleased on the plans staff have created to help implement your goals. And of course, I always welcome your input or questions, but as Nancy said, we'll do a full all-day briefing with you on February 3rd. That will have given staff at least 6 months from plan implementation to that time to show you progress they've made. So I'll ask for a little bit more time for us to work on these, and then we'll come back to you in February. But of course, I'm happy to fill you in between then, and I will, on the progress of these plans.
All right. Thank you. This is for information only, so I just want to thank you, Nancy, for your hard work, and staff as well, and keeping us updated. So we'll, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just make a real quick comment, though. Just because I know we've been told numerous times to stay on track, Gary. I mean, like, eyes on the prize here, right? But we have things coming up that are unplanned, that we need to be able to pivot, based on whatever's happening in the world, in our community. So, I mean, this is great. I want to stick to this, but I also give us a little leeway as we throw things at you that we're not planning either, that, may come up. So I know the bright, shiny objects, that's, as you said, don't do that. But I just think we have to be very flexible as a board, and I want to make sure that you understand that when we ask that of you.
Yes, we totally understand that, but my role is to help you stay focused. So if it is truly just a shiny object, I'll say, well, turn the light down and we'll shine it later. But if it's a true crisis or urgent matter, of course, we need to be nimble for the public, and we will adapt to that.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you,
Thank
Nancy.
you.
What's next, Gary?
All right, thank you. Next is Malino Hamlet Board of Directors ratification. Andrew Jiraki will present this. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Chair, today the board considers ratification of 3 electees to the Malino Hamlet Board of Directors. As a reminder, Hamlets are agents of the county and are advisory to the Board of County Commissioners. A recent change to the Hamlet's bylaws requires the approval of elected directors by the board. 2 directors are current board members, and 1 is new. The recommendation is as follows: Derek Chirico, Tracy Brody, and Charla Crahal. Those are the electees seeking ratification today, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Colleagues, may I have a motion?
I move we ratify the election of Derek Chirico, Tracy Brody, and Charlotte Krall, the Malino Hamlet Board of Directors. I hope I said those names correctly.
Second.
Commissioner Trader has moved to ratify the election of Derek Chirico, Tracy Brody, and Carla Hall to the Malino Hamlet Board of Directors. Commissioner Helm has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Gary?
Thank you. Next is review of your board business meeting agenda for this Thursday, October 30th, 2025. You will have public communication, Housing Authority consent agenda, a public hearing on the second reading of an ordinance to adopt Clackamas County Code regarding erosion prevention and sediment control, and Board of County Commissioners, Clackamas County consent agenda items. If you have any questions on any item of these listed on the agenda, if you'd please tell me prior to Thursday so that I may answer it for you or have staff in the room to answer your question. And this is the day before Halloween, so if you choose to wear costumes, that would be welcome with the chair's approval. I'll dress as a bureaucrat that day. How's that? Okay. Thank you. Next, comment letter on planned and potential TriMet service cuts. Commissioner Savas is proposing a letter for the board to sign. He is not able to be here because of the State Transportation Committee meeting, but Commissioner Helm, I understand you are prepared to discuss this on his behalf.
Yes, I think everyone received a copy of the letter that Commissioner Savas is proposing we send. And just for the public's information, we have been attending these JPAC meetings, and there is, because of the $300 and some $1 million shortfall in TriMet's budgets, they're talking about cuts and where these are going to be affected. The gist of the letter has to do with the way the survey was conducted and the way the questions were asked. And the phrasing of the survey gave the respondents the impression that cutting county shuttle services funded through regional coordination will have a small impact on ridership, when the reality is that this cut would have a significant impact on the community it serves. I think what Commissioner Savas is not just implying, but actually asking for is that the Oregon legislature, when they passed House Bill 2017, it created the statewide Transportation Improvement Fund, the STIF fund, that fund these programs. And by cutting or eliminating a program that has a dedicated funding stream should not be the path that TriMet takes to address their general ridership revenue issues. We're asking the board, Paul and I both, our Commissioner's office, we're asking the board to approve this letter to send to the TriMet Board of Directors as soon as possible.
Questions? All right, may I have a motion?
I move that we approve the letter as presented and authorize Chair Roberts to sign on the board's behalf.
Second.
All right, Commissioner West has moved to approve the letter as presented, authorizing me to sign on the board's behalf. Commissioner Schrader has seconded that. Any further discussion?
Thank you, colleagues.
All right, Clerk, would you please call the poll on that?
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Gary?
Thank you. The final item today is Commissioner Communications.
All right, and I will start with, to my right, Martha.
Well, one of the things, as I've been working on colleagues, is the child care initiative, because it's actually one of the levers that help move people up the economic mobility ladder, which is a program that I've worked in, and I'm actually going to be pulling together some case studies. I'll be talking to Emily about that today, to send to the National Association of Counties. They've asked for some of the things we've been doing as case studies so they can share it with other counties. But in the child care arena, there are a number of local incentives, both state and federal, I think, that we need to be looking at. Land use and zoning incentives is one of those. Expedited permitting, waived systems development charges, zoning flexibility. Those are some things. And as I said, none of this has been implemented yet. I'm just pretty much pulling together lists of what we can do. We can do financial and tax incentives, property tax abatements or deferrals for centers that expand slots or serve underserved populations, micro grants or revolving loan funds to help small providers, low-interest loans through community development and financial institutions, employer child care partnership grants. And then there's the one that I really like to talk about is the public-private partnership incentives, because I think that if we get the private sector involved, our business community, and they see the return on investment that is possible when child care is easily accessible for their employees, it makes a big difference. And so some of those possibilities could be county land or building leases at below market rates, child care infrastructure match programs, joint child care and workforce hubs, anchor institution partnerships, and then workforce and licensing support is another big piece. So training stipends or scholarships for early childhood. I believe Clackamas Community College right now does have an early child care program that, really gives people the tools they need to understand early learning and how to work with children and help. And actually, brain development, which is so critical from birth to onward. Substitute pools, childcare, workforce housing is an interesting one that I've talked about. So that's rent assistance or affordable housing priority. So that is something we already do that I think we do very well. And county navigator services, we actually do have that with our early learning hub. They do an excellent job. One of the things that I've been thinking about is as we increase our affordable housing portfolio, which we've been, I think, leading the pack on that. A lot of times we'll co-locate services there. And I've often wondered why we can't have a program where we can also co-locate childcare there. Well, one of the issues is that it's considered a commercial endeavor. So even if you built the facility, you would have to be, paying more for it, which kind of is counterintuitive to trying to keep it as affordable as possible. So I hope one of my plans this next session, it's a short session, I wanted to get a hold of some of our legislators and see if we can come up with some kind of a backfill opportunity. It's probably a long shot because I think given what we've been facing lately with all the turmoil at the federal level, I'm not sure many of these good ideas are going to be, will be subsidized at this point. But I always say hope is a risk that must be run, and I think this is something that is very important for our workforce and important for our children in the county. So that's my report on what I've been working on lately. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha.
Okay.
Commissioner West.
Thank you, Chair. I spoke to all my colleagues yesterday about a looming crisis that we're facing here. On November 1st, SNAP benefits will not be available to the residents of the state of Oregon or those that live here in Clackamas County. Roughly 757,000 Oregonians will not be getting their November SNAP benefits. 1 in 6 Oregonians rely on SNAP. This is their food benefits, their food assistance for low-income families. About 210,000 out of that 750,000 are children, and about 130,000 are age 65 or older. I'm not here to have a policy conversation on whether or not we like SNAP or entitlement programs or different benefits like this, but to abruptly stop these benefits is woefully irresponsible, and the most vulnerable in our community are caught in a lurch. Low-income families, mothers, young infants should not be caught in this crossfire. It's not appropriate. Now, here in Clackamas County, we're not going to solve a federal shutdown between Congress and parties that are working on that federal budget. We're not going to solve that here, nor is that our job at the Clackamas County level. But we can't deny the impact to our families. It is a crisis that is looming. But we're a county, so we deliver services. That is our job. And in Clackamas County, we need to make sure resources are available to them. I believe without delay. I believe it's morally imperative. I hope that Oregon will step up and provide food benefits and fill that funding gap until Congress figures out what it's going to do and reopens. And I think they can maybe do that through different pots of money. The E-Board does not require legislative action as a whole legislative body, but they can make emergency decisions out of their discretionary fund to maybe backfill some of this within the state. I hope they do that. Leadership, the governor's office, and other electeds throughout the state of Oregon have sent a letter to USDA. I don't know if that is enough. We do need the state to step up and to work to fund this until these issues at the federal level are resolved. I believe that in Oregon, we should never look to leverage families with food insecurity for political benefit. When a child is hungry and a mother is struggling to feed that child, they don't care about your political agenda. They do care about having food that day. November is a special time of year for all of us. It's where we celebrate Thanksgiving and we take care of our neighbors. The kids have a week off in school. Are those kids going to eat during Thanksgiving week? Your political opinions are relevant to me right now, but making sure those kids eat is important. We should not leverage them. At least 25 other states have stepped up and said, hey, we're going to backfill. We're going to find the money in our state budget and then work for reimbursement, hopefully with Congress to figure this out. I want Oregon to be one of those 25 states. We must do more than a letter to USDA. I have a couple action items I'd like to see this board take today. I've talked to this is no surprise to my board. I've talked to everyone about this, and I talked to Administrator Schmidt about this also. I want us to send a letter to the state today urgently asking them to do this and to step up and to backfill and to maybe use a pot of money that's fungible, or to use the resources and discretionary spending from the E-Board to make that happen. If they do not step up quickly and we go into Thursday next business meeting, I believe Clackamas County should declare a state of emergency on this issue for food scarcity and insecurity in our community. We're the third largest county, and a large number of those 757,000 people on SNAP live and reside in our neighbors, and I believe it is an emergency if we don't make sure that they have those benefits going into November. And then I made a phone call to the lobbyist and was working with the lobbyist yesterday for the grocers. In Clackamas County, we got to be real creative and just figure out how to lead. And once again, our jobs is deliver services. We have a number of wonderful food banks throughout our entire community, all the way from Wilsonville, Sharing to CCSC, and many others that are able to provide food and resources during November to the people in our community. I called the lobby and said, hey, if Clackamas County puts up some seed money, can you give us the deal of a lifetime in a bulk order to fund and to make sure that we have food available in all of our food banks and food pantries? And the lobbyist was ecstatic that somebody had called to figure out how to be solutions-oriented and was very proud of this board in Clackamas County to suggest that creative idea. I would like us to strongly consider putting seed money forward from the county to work directly and negotiate with the grocers whose distribution centers sit in our county, to work with us to get a great deal on essential items so that families can have that while we work through the SNAP issue. And so that would take a little bit of funding. And you know what, it may be not solve the whole funding issue, but it helps solve someone's today. It does a little bit, and it shows leadership. And so I think we should take that action also and talk about that as a board. And then I got off the phone yesterday and this morning with the president of the Association of Oregon Counties. We have a board meeting tomorrow. There will be a call of action to all of Oregon's counties to step up and do something similar to what I am asking today, including multiple counties calling a state of emergency and asking the state of Oregon to step up and be creative and to fund this gap until the federal government figures it out. This is what counties do. We solve local problems. We deliver services. We don't get to be partisan, but we also don't let our neighbors go hungry. And I'm asking that Clackamas County be creative today and show leadership where it has lacked, but we're responsible for our neighbors. And today I ask this county to discuss this and to consider my proposal. Thank you.
All right. With that said, I'll open it up for discussion. Commissioner Helm.
You didn't mention the amount of seed money.
We can talk, that's because I thought we talk about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
And
I didn't
it's
know.
a little bit Marco Polo because it's moving fast. I think, I felt like the number of $100,000 would allow us to be, if the grocers work with us and really make that basically a 2-for-1 type of thing and really help us figure out where that savings can be stretched and working directly with Walmart, Kroger's, Safeway, and we can make that really stretch. It's a lot of food into our food banks, into our food pantries. That's the number I'm thinking of today, but it's a little bit like, what can we reasonably do? We are on a tight budget at the same time, but I hope the grocers, as we talk about this, and timeline's tough right now, but we can really make that stretch. I also, Chair Roberts talked about yesterday, really pushing our neighbors to start to do a big food drive. Like really, you had an idea about the state of the county. I don't know if you can bring a turkey, that's a lot. Bring something. Turkey's a lot, but
Might be a
I
little
don't know where we're gonna put all the
difficult.
turkeys, but could you imagine? Just something that we are all stepping up because government's not fulfilling its role right now in this safety net, but we as neighbors should. So how do we balance all of that? I guess, so the number I will throw out today to start conversations is $100,000.
And Martha.
Yeah, I think as usual, you're innovative and right on the mark, which I hope Gary doesn't scare you all the time, because I know we can get ahead of our skis here, but I think we do have to do something. I don't think we have a choice at this point. I wish the federal government would get its act together. It's a shame that, as usual, as the direct service deliverers, that we're constantly put in the backstop. So do we have a map? That's my real question here, of where all our, because you're talking about our local food banks. So do we have an overall map of where those are and logistics of how we would get food to them? And how many have we got? How many volunteers are needed? Where does
Yeah.
the distribution, that kind of thing?
I think staff would have to help us, but if we have to declare a state of emergency immediately, that allows us to move more nimbly. So let's say we have to work with the grocers to get this distributed out, that state of emergency allows us to do that. That's what Gary informed me, is our ability to not necessarily have the same type of requirements on procurement and those types of things. But we can all name quite a few that are anywhere from Molalla to Wilsonville to the Milwaukee area. They're all over, even here in Oregon City. And so they're great partners. I think we need to rally and be communicative about what they need and what they not. We also might be able to say, hey, maybe they can't take the full distribution immediately, but the grocer's allowing us to roll it out as needed over maybe in 2 weeks. This is what you get the first 2 weeks of the next week. So we can be nuanced and creative, and staff could help us figure out how to implement this idea. But I don't have a direct answer to the specifics, but I think this plan allows us to act.
And faith-based community, I'm assuming, will also be involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Helm.
That was going to be my next question, Commissioner West, was, I'm pretty sure that Clackamas Service Center is the largest one in our county.
Right.
I think they have the ability to handle a lot. Now, can they handle all of it at once? I seriously doubt it. I think it would have to be rolled out. But I do know they distribute to many of the other local food banks. So that's a really good starting point. I appreciate and respect your leadership in this and your ideas, and I think this is a great first move. But I do think we need to contact some of these food banks and make sure that they're able to handle it.
I agree.
Yeah, I actually had tried to reach Clackamas Community Service Center to kind of hear, because they are a major distributor throughout the entire county for food, and so hopefully we'll hear back from them. But I think, it's, again, thank you, Commissioner West, and for bringing this idea forward. I think it's perfect in timing. I believe that we really need to rally everybody. This is like a coordinated community response. We can't do this alone. We're having the State of the County address, which I'd encourage folks to bring food there. I think just working with Gary and staff about having drop-off locations for food and really kind of putting together a coordinated plan on this. So it's very exciting. I think it's timely. I think with Thanksgiving coming up, I just will say that, the residents of Clackamas County have giving hearts. And I think it's, if we put the ask out there, that we'll get folks to step up to help in this. So there's a lot of people in need. And I think that, just to reiterate, you and I had a number of conversations with the Clackamas Service Center, and that right now, they provide 9,000 meals a month. So if you can only imagine what this could step up to be, and the need is great. So I would turn to Gary, and would this be kind of put on our Thursday's meeting then?
So I'm hearing the first request is to send a letter to the state, and if the state delivers by Friday, then we're done. We're good, golden.
Close.
That's probably unlikely.
Yeah.
And then to declare state of emergency yes, so it'd be on Thursday's business meeting to declare an emergency. So Commissioner West called me first. I thank you, Commissioner, and Commissioners, I appreciate you checking in with me first so I can give you counsel and advice. This is a very creative idea, but I want to caution you and counsel you on all sides of this. There are a lot of federal dollars that are not coming to Oregon and Clackamas County. This is a priority, but there's others too. So will you do this for those as well? Just think about that. The $100,000, you decide how to spend the money, but I'm going to be direct as I always am. This will mean every penny counts. So if you use a $100,000 for this, that's $100,000 in cuts you will make for July 1st, 2026. Just be aware of that. And right now, this sounds okay, but you'll be making painful decisions in July. But with that, yes, the state of emergency, all it does is give you flexibility and nimbleness here internally on how we do procurement, getting money out the door. It's really more symbolic, but this is a very powerful symbolic statement you could make. But I just advise you, and you can counter me, I know you will in a second, that there's a lot of federal dollars that are impacting Oregonians and Clackamas County residents. So if you start here, are you opening the door for those two? Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner West.
We'll have to take it case by case, and this is changing day by day. You're right. But, this on the hierarchy of needs, food's pretty serious. The ability to eat is pretty serious. Going hungry is really, problematic for many, and we got to make sure we don't pull the rug out like this from under them, and that's what's happening. I hope the letter goes out today with a sense of urgency to the state. And I don't know if we would all be willing to sign it or if it would be just signed by the chair, the letter today. To me, it
You'll
doesn't
have to
matter.
delegate that to the chair because we can't,
Because Paul's not here, yeah.
well, unless we could bring it back to you this afternoon to review before at your last policy session. We could do that.
The letter?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we'll do.
And then the declared emergency would be on Thursday's business meeting if we don't see appropriate action as a county to be able to support the community.
Yes.
And then we continue to work with the grocers and with their lobbyists to figure out how to absolutely multiply and maximize what we're able to do and to get great value out of it and to be strategic and to work nimbly with the grocers. And then I believe the AOC call to action has actually already happened, and we will see an action on Wednesday from the Board of AOC.
Okay.
So
We
do
need a
all four of you agree with this plan of action?
Yes.
Do
See head
you need
nods.
a motion or?
Nope. I
Nope,
see head
okay.
nods.
Nope.
Yep. So the letter will bring back to you this afternoon at the end of the last policy session, and then we'll add to this Thursday's business meeting agenda a declaration. Staff's already drafted one, so we'll have that on the agenda for Thursday.
And I would just like to make sure that we're communicating how citizens of Clackamas County can step up and who they might make a donation, whether it's in food or financially or whatever, to make sure that
Those
that's
of us.
clear. And then
So-
I would also just, again, want to encourage all our cities to join us in this effort. And so reaching out to them as well.
So this is what you talked about earlier, Commissioner Helms. So we're going to put on pause all of your strategic planning efforts and focus on this for now.
You did bring
Thank
that.
Why I brought it up. Kind of a little heads up.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. It's very important, thank you. And are you, anything else, sir?
That is, I think that's plenty of comments from me. Thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner Helm.
Okay, so Thursday I went to yet another economic forum. This is economic forum time of the year, apparently. I think it's my third or fourth in the last week and a half. This was put on by the North Clackamas Chamber of Commerce at Clackamas Community College. You know, it's interesting, and you were there too, I think, right? I'm trying to figure out who was there. Yes, the numbers are just kind of doom and gloom right now. And one of the things that it kind of made me chuckle is the number of people hitting age 65 and over in the state of Oregon right now. And hello, I just did that myself. So it's a very high number, and the amount of births have gone down. Anyway, it's interesting. Each forum sort of focuses on a different aspect of it, and this had to do with housing and jobs. And I will say that the gentleman that put on the forum was quite entertaining, but he kept saying, "I'm not going to use the word recession. I'm not going to use the word recession," which in turn means he's using the word recession. So there's just a lot of things in play right now. So I find all of them very informative, very educational, and yeah, very, very interesting. Not always in a good way, though. And then Thursday evening, some of us attended the city's dinner in Gladstone, and thank you, City of Gladstone, for putting that on. Got to see some people I hadn't seen for a while, too. And the cute part was they had their theater group put on a little show for us. What was it? Shakespeare. Oh, I Hate Shakespeare. I Hate Shakespeare. It was a great little spoof on Shakespeare. So it was very cute. We were entertained while we were there as well. And then last night we had dinner with the Planning Commission. So I got to meet all the planning commissioners, and and we had a very nice roundtable discussion about what they do and how long they've been on board. And some of them have served for quite a number of years. It's very impressive. And that's it for now.
Right. And really, just to echo a couple quick comments, and the Planning Commission, I was really surprised at the tenure of the volunteers. I mean, we're talking 8 to 12 years and
15 to 20.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was really Pretty amazing that citizens were committing that amount of time to getting educated on planning and other issues. So my thanks to all of them. The other thing is to comment on, again, we have November 5th State of the County Address. It's from 5 to 7 at Clackamas Community College at the Gregory Forum Building. And another just commenting, again, kind of following your lead on the Clackamas Cities Association dinner. The mayor did a wonderful job. It was great to see their community center there, and a lot of good things going on in Gladstone, so it was nice to get an update there. And also, I wanted to give a shout out to staff. It was the Senate District 26 appointment process was a little bit daunting. If you can imagine, 4 counties, 18 commissioners, and coordinating it. So Andrew, I want to personally thank you for an incredible job, and all the other staff that really helped make that process go very smoothly. So there's so much behind the scenes work that people don't see, but I saw it, and Andrew, just want to extend my thanks for an outstanding job on that. And lastly, Commissioner West and I had a meeting at Kaiser yesterday with Wendy Watson there, amazing lady leading the charge there at the hospital. When you really look at Clackamas County and having Kaiser in our county, we're very fortunate. I think they have over 8,000 employees. They have new major construction project going on, and the former cop and nurse were tag teamed on recovery center concept, and we're getting around to all the hospitals, really talking about the importance of treatment for addiction and mental illness, and where we're kind of headed in the future. So lots of exciting things. So we'll have a follow-up meeting with them that we're working on scheduling. So it was a great meeting. And there's many other issues, but I think in the interest of time, I'll go ahead and conclude my comments for today. So for the administrator issues and updates, that's it. So on behalf of the Board and Commissioners, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We'll be back here at 1:30 for the policy session. Until then, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. All right, good afternoon, and we're reconvening in our policy session, and I'm going to turn to Gary as to what's next.
Thank you, Chair Roberts. Commissioner Savas is still at the State Transportation meeting, will not be joining you for the afternoon sessions. We are actually returning to issues and bringing up the single topic you asked us to come back with, which was a draft letter to the governor and legislative leaders regarding the potential end of SNAP, Federal Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits on November 1st. Emily Klepper, would you please come forward? Emily from our policy staff in the board's office and team have drafted a letter in 2 hours or less. Thank you, Emily and team. The letter is on the copy in front of you in the dais. Do we have it, Andrew, for you to post on? Because Andrew will post it on the screen here. Emily, can you give the highlights of the letter, please?
Sure. So per your conversation this morning, we're urging state leadership to continue helping us meet these basic needs. So we've included some statistics about the number of recipients who receive SNAP benefits or specifically in Clackamas County, what actions you discussed this morning that you are prepared to take without state assistance, and then again, urging the state to help us. But I'm happy to take any edits that you might have. I know you're just seeing this right now, so I apologize for the short turnaround, but happy to take any edits.
That's on us. We're trying to move quickly. So
Yep, take your time.
comments. I see Commissioner West has a comment.
I have an edit.
Well, I think maybe,
Or is that what we're doing now, is our edits on this
well,
letter? Or you
I
guys
want,
want to-
maybe Diana Helm, you want to go first?
Well, I don't want to, the gist of it is perfect. There's just little wordsmithing. There's just words that are either awkward, or I'd like to add, we are deeply concerned with the impending. I don't know, we said, let's run it through ChatGPT and let it clean it up or something. I don't know. But the first sentence, the Clackamas County is asking for your support to please continue meeting Oregonians' basic needs. I would just take out to please.
Okay.
That is their job. But you did a great job in such a short period of time.
Commissioner West.
My edits are on the very last paragraph. I'll read them. Actually, I'm going to put my glasses on first. Let's see. Last paragraph here starts with Clackamas County cannot do this alone. We urge you to find state resources. The edit goes to backfill these benefits until this issue is resolved at the federal level. Other states have adopted similar practices. We urge you to collaborate with them to seek reimbursement upon the federal government's reopening. This is my edit.
That's good.
Okay.
One more time, please.
Yes.
Andrew's doing this as transcribing as we speak.
Are you ready, Andrew? Ready. Yeah. I'll read that last paragraph. It starts off, and I'll tell you when the edit starts, but it's that last one. Clackamas County cannot do this alone. We urge you to find state resources, here goes the edit, to backfill these benefits until this issue is resolved at the federal level. Ready?
Ready?
The edit goes on and adds, other states have adopted similar practices, period. We urge you to collaborate with them to seek reimbursement upon the federal government's reopening, period.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Any other? Those are my edits. I don't know if their commissioners have another one.
No, but I think, Gary, I'd like to allow staff, if they see any other edits, to just make those edits. I think in the context of what we see is following the theme of what we want. So as long as you're kind of good with that, Gary, if there's other edits that they see appropriate, I would just say go forth and conquer.
If you're okay for small grammatical changes, we'll do that. Otherwise, I am looking for a motion for you to approve this letter. Now, Andrew has it on your screen, if you want to look at it one more time. We have yours, Commissioner Helm. We're taking out at the top there, Andrew, to please. Take out the word please. Yeah.
Meeting or-
But it's going to have to be reworded. Clackamas County is asking for your support to continue meeting Oregon's, but okay, we are
It's
deeply
asking
concerned.
you to continue.
Right.
So Clackamas County is asking you to continue meeting
Yes.
Oregon's. Yep. Very good.
And then the other thing I would add is the second to last paragraph, right before this will only provide temporary relief, is say, however, this will only provide temporary relief.
Any other feedback, commissioners?
I can make a motion. When ready, Chair, if you're ready, if the board's ready. Chair, I move that we adopt this letter for immediate release to the state of Oregon with the allowance for staff to make minor grammatical and editing adjustments as needed.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner West has moved to adopt the letter with immediate release and to allow staff to make minor edits as appropriate. It's been seconded by Commissioner Schrader. Is there any further discussion?
Who would like, do you want to, Chair, are you comfortable signing on behalf of the board, or do we all want all our signature on this letter? What do you guys think?
I suggest just the chair, because Commissioner Savas is not here, which means his signature cannot be added, and it'd be weird to have only 4 of the 5 of you sign it. So I'd
Okay.
rather just have the chair sign it for you all.
Does everybody agree?
That's
Yeah.
fine with
That's fine.
Do I need to add that into no amendment is needed? Okay.
All right. Any other discussion? Clerk, will you please call the poll?
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners, and Emily, we'll get the edits made, we'll get it out today, and we'll copy you.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you. If you're ready, Chair, we'll move to
Yes,
the
go
policy
ahead.
sessions now. So this is the scheduled policy sessions. First one is Recovery-Oriented System of Care Framework. Mary Rumbaugh, Director of Health, Housing, and Human Services, will present. Mary, welcome, and go ahead, please.
Good afternoon. Chair Roberts and Commissioners, I'm going to pause a moment, though, for Andrew to see if we have slides ready to go, so I won't be able to see the slides, but I'll just prompt you to move forward.
We will fix that. We'll get her a laptop, but we'll get the presentation up right now.
Andrew's in charge. I mean, I'm really okay just prompting you, too. That's fine. So whatever.
If you'd like to begin, I can have a laptop for you momentarily.
Okay, that sounds great. Again, good afternoon, Chair Roberts and Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an overview of services and activities provided by H3S that are rooted in a recovery system of care framework. The purpose of today's presentation is to walk through H3S services and activities that align with the categories that were laid out in Commissioner West's April memo, where he outlined a recovery-oriented framework. Today will just be an overview and does not represent the entire scope of H3S services and activities. Your board packet does include a much more complete list of those services and activities, either provided by or funded through H3S that currently support the proposed framework. And I'll pause. So the structure of the presentation will be each slide is reflective of the 6 or 7 categories that Commissioner West outlined and where we support those. Perfect. So some of the examples around prevention and early intervention include street outreach, such as an outreach program through our contract with Love One, veterans outreach, and our public health community paramedic program. Additionally, H3S contracts with a variety of local community-based organizations that encompass street outreach. Eviction prevention is offered through mediation services as well as short-term rental assistance programs. And finally, the soon-to-be-open Stabilization Center, offering transitional housing for individuals experiencing homelessness, ultimately expanding both the county's mental health and housing services. Next slide. Some examples of housing with accountability and readiness include transitional housing like Bridges to Change and Red Lodge Transition Services, which provides Native American culturally focused programs and transitional housing for women releasing from jail, prison, or treatment. Permanent supportive housing is the housing model that includes case management services and includes sites like Tukwila Springs and Good Shepherd Village. Housing case management, also often referred to as resident services, works to help families achieve economic independence and reduce dependence on assistance. Next slide. Some examples of a substance use and mental health treatment continuum includes things like withdrawal management, or what often individuals call detox, outpatient substance use treatment, as well as mental health outpatient treatment. Health Centers, our largest behavioral health provider in the county, also has trained clinicians who can address someone with both a substance use and a mental health condition, often referred to as a co-occurring disorder. Of course, our Stabilization Center, our involuntary commitment program, and access to licensed mental health residential treatment homes and facilities for folks with severe and persistent mental illness. Some examples of reentry and workforce readiness includes our employment, workforce services. I guess I'm going to be in charge now. Thank you. All right. Some examples here include our employment workforce services, offering job placement and retention, as well as our expungement clinics, and our second chance employment workforce services provided in the county jail. Some examples for criminal justice interventions and public safety reform are specialty courts such as drug court, family treatment court, and mental health court, peer recovery support and case management provided to those transitioning out of jail and those on probation, and medication for opioid use disorder, which happens in our jail as well. We have fewer examples of economic and policy reform as it relates to welfare benefits, which is managed by the state. But we do know that the last several legislative sessions have passed bills focused on recruitment and retention for frontline workers, and we have been the recipient of the Oregon OHA Workforce Incentive Grant that supports master-level clinicians getting licensure supervision. Some examples of aging and end-of-life care include Senior Counsel Guardianship Program, the Older Adult Behavioral Specialist, and there is one or more than one in each county, and the Medical Respite Pilot Program. Changing public perception and policy momentum continues to be a key in shifting not only public perception, but also prioritizing funding, especially in areas that have been historically, for generations, been underfunded. Just a few ways to accomplish this is through coalition building, like the Clackamas Community Alliance, which is co-convened by Public Health and CFCC to de-silo work across the systems and foster collaboration to improve the lives of people impacted by substance use. Of course, community awareness and education is key, and the role of our board-appointed advisory councils, like our Veterans Advisory Council, Community Health Council, Public Health Advisory Council, and our Housing Advisory Board. So we know that there are current system gaps. These won't be a surprise to any of us. Lack of services in rural communities, access and availability across almost all services, inadequate investments both at the state and local level, competing priorities, just as you all were discussing earlier today, and the lack of a 24/7, 365 overnight shelter is a huge barrier in this community. So what's next? Well, you'll decide what's next, but ultimately my recommendation is that we do focus on what's working well and what we already have in place that is supporting this framework, that we understand the role of county versus state, and when the memo was presented back in April, that was something that Commissioner Savas said is it feels like there are things that probably aren't within our scope, so making sure that we're sort of staying within our swim lanes there, and ensure that we have alignment with your strategic plan. So, I am happy to answer any questions. I also have several of our division directors or their program staff available if there's a particular program question, but really our intent was to really be able to show, based on the categories aligned in the memo from April, sort of what is already happening in the county supported by H3S, and then really to hand this back to you all for further discussion.
Colleagues, questions?
I have a question, but it's not for Mary. Is that okay?
Sure.
So, Commissioner West, I know you've shared this with me a while back, but you sent this memo out in April of this year to Metro, Tri-County partners and stakeholders. What kind of response did you get?
That's a really good question. So, good overall. I think it depends on what side of the ideological camp you might sit in a little bit. There were those in the room that were much more comfortable or less likely to want to change what has been the status quo policy-wise. And then there were others like cities, law enforcement, business, even other members of the Metro Council. I believe Lynn Peterson was appreciative of this framework to try to be an idea about a different direction or things that maybe we could do to fill gaps within the care continuum. But overall, it was respectfully received. It was also kind of championed at the same time as Commissioner Singleton's framework was pushed forward, and her ideas were also kind of brought to the group. Different in approach. There are benefits from both. I met with Commissioner Singleton in Multnomah County to try to figure out where we had overlapping common ground and to do this work. Both frameworks were presented at the Supportive Housing Services Task Force. And overall, the reception was really good. But I think I was also super encouraged when I brought this forward and staff, and Mary was like, well, this is great, but we also we do some of this already, and we are already meeting these needs, which is fantastic, and I'm not shocked by that at all, Mary, and what your team does. But I think it's also important to have this framework so we know what direction, so we have a little bit of clear idea about what our worldview is informing, right? So it's less nebulous that way, and I think it gives us some idea to say, hey, does the policy align to this? Does this we mapped out what we like it to kind of look like, and it's not all, it's a little bit malleable, right? Where things happen and we have to make decisions, but I think that this helps us always make sure that we're being true to the system that we've committed to.
Okay.
And I think it was well received, to answer your question, at Metro. I mean, Chair Roberts was there too when it was presented and was aware of it also.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions? We have a lot of staff in the background, so thank you for coming. And this is informational only right now, but I want to thank you and all your staff for the great work. And it's very exciting to see us moving forward, and it's very positive. So thank you very much. And with that, Gary, I will turn to you as to what's next.
Thank you, Mary and team. Thank you, Mary and team. I don't see our staff for the next presentation. So can we take a short break until 2 o'clock, please?
All right. We'll take a short recess.
Thank you.
And we will now reconvene policy session, and I will turn to Gary. What's next?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Next policy session is Clackamas County Noise Ordinance. Dan Johnson, Director of Transportation and Development, and Caleb Hugel, Assistant County Counsel, will present and fill you in on the long history of this. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. Chair Roberts, Commissioners, we are here to talk to you about a topic that's near and dear to your heart, the noise ordinance. There is a comprehensive summary of discussions that have occurred back since 2020, and I can't give you all, I can give you a detail into some of that history, but I can't come here and share with you why these public hearings didn't get scheduled. I don't know the history around all that, and there's been decisions made, but the long and the short of it is there are changes that we are looking to implement, the board is looking to implement, that need to be codified in code. Just to start, is Chapter 6.05 is the noise control ordinance. Essentially, there was discussions with the Board of County Commissioners over a number of different dates, starting in 2020 all the way through August 7th of 2024. And those conversations and the requested adjustments to the code hover around a couple of different, very specific items. First, who within Clackamas County is going to have the responsibility for processing noise variance requests? Historically, that was with the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office. The Board of County Commissioners had some interest and some desires to move that processing from the Sheriff's Office to DTD. Operationally, we have already done that, in all honesty. Code enforcement is now taking the lead in processing noise variance requests throughout the county. The reasoning behind that, I don't think it had any reflection on the work the Sheriff's Office was doing at that point in time. I think it had more of a discussion and a dialogue around some of the public, a lot of these variances are around public need, and that public need may be around construction noise variances for commercial construction. They may be around transportation projects. So there was more of a connection to some of that public dialogue and that public necessity. And that was the intent the board had during prior discussions. Second were appeals of these noise variances. And so when a noise variance comes in, there are general criteria that are there that are evaluated. Essentially, just to give you an idea, there were 9 variance requests, a whopping 9 in the last 2 years. We've only had 2 appeals, to give you scope and scale to that. Currently, the code directs all noise variance appeals congratulations to the Board of County Commissioners for you to consider. and provides a 15-day turnaround to deny the application, approve the application, or approve it subject to conditions. That's a very, very tight timeline, number one. And number two, you have a very busy schedule of the work that you're doing. And so there were discussions about how we could take that responsibility off your shoulders and adjust it into some of their mechanism, and also look to extend the timeline a little bit. There were talks about moving it to our contracted hearings officer. We have hearings officers that do work for our planning department. We have hearings officers that do work for our code enforcement program. I want to highlight the fact, though, we have contracts with them, so there are dollars associated with that, and there are costs associated with that. And though these appeals are based on fact and assessment of certain findings, they aren't very complicated, for lack of a better word. There aren't a lot of findings to necessarily make. They are not similar to like a land use decision in regards to their complexity, nor a code enforcement action. I will tell you, though, the Board of County Commissioners had an interest in possibly adjusting those to the hearings officer for consideration. Staff has taken a look at that, County Council, DTD staff, and into conversations with county administration and Gary specifically, and we think we have an alternative, and this alternative is a little bit more cost-effective and affordable. And essentially, that alternative would be to recommend that the appeals go directly to the county administrator. Code enforcement staff would assist in the processing of that application or that appeal to the county administrator. And that's viable, and the county administrator has agreed, still hopefully agrees, to hear these appeal requests. But we would be looking for an extension of period of time, up to 21 days, to give a little more time in that dialogue and have it not be so rushed, because obviously Gary is keeping up with the good work of the board. Next is public benefit. There was the Board of County Commissioners had a desire to have some clarity around what public benefit is. And so the recommendation before you basically includes the fact that staff would work to define what public benefit may mean and more clarity within the code. And last but not least was a discussion around notification. Notification is very similar to discussions around the hearings officer, depending on who is completing that notification. If it comes into our office, there is staff time and cost associated with basically completing a formal notification process like we do in our planning department. And so we have identified a possible alternative here, and essentially that alternative is an affidavit. And that affidavit would be submitted as a part of the variance application request. And that affidavit, which we would have to develop for board consideration, but affidavit would essentially be presented to the applicant, where they are affirming to us they have gone to every adjoining property owner and informed them of the proposed request for the noise variance, and that there are no objections to that particular noise-causing event. So with that, there are if the board directs staff to advance the amendments to Chapter 6.05, they need to be approved at 2 business meetings, at least 13 days apart. And they would take effect about approximately 90 days after the second approval unless an emergency is declared. We'd work with county council to draft these amendments to code for board consideration at a future public hearing. You'll see 3 options identified there. First option is to direct staff to advance amendments to Chapter 6.05, the Noise Control Ordinance, to ensure DTD code enforcement is a program evaluating these variance requests. Second, direct appeals to the county administrator, extending the period of review to 21 days. Third, clarify the public benefit variance language so it's cleaner within the code. And last but not least, require submittal of an affidavit affirming adjacent property owners have been notified. Option 2 is to advance other amendments, as the board may see during discussions today, or adjustments to those amendments to the code. And last but not least is for the board to direct staff to research questions raised by the board and return once again for discussions around noise variances. So with that, Caleb, would you like to add anything?
No.
With that, we'd be happy to answer any questions. You did fabulous work today, Caleb. With that, we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, Commissioner Schrader.
Yeah, what problem are we really trying to solve here? What are some of the situations that come up that require us to come up with this kind of a policy with variances? Is it usually rural? Is it urban? I mean, obviously, unincorporated, rural, or urban, or both?
Harkening back to 2020, the original issue was an urban issue, and it dealt with the noise variance the sheriff's office issued associated with construction activity. So when we have high temperature days, and we have, like, in this particular circumstances, we had a commercial construction or industrial construction project. They had to issue a variance to allow them to go out there at midnight and start pouring concrete for the pad, because you can't pour the pad when it's 115 degrees outside. And then that raised concerns with notification, which raised concerns with who's reviewing these. Hey, are they not I mean, that's how it all started. So I will say, since that time, they have ran from urban to rural. Depends on who and what and where they're looking to do a lot of these. But looking at the variances over the last 2 years, we don't get a lot of them. We've got 9 of them. Of those 9, some are public. So, for example, we may be closing a road in the middle of the night to be doing night work, because night work is more beneficial to the public because we can open it quicker because we have the road closed. Or they could be private events that are looking to go past the 10 p.m. Noise period, 60 decibel period. So those are evaluated on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner West.
I think that Commissioner Schrader's question initially is fantastic. Like, do we even have a problem to solve here? We have 9 cases in 2 years.
Your mic's up.
Commissioner Schrader's question is a great one right out the gate. What is the problem to solve here? We have 9 cases in 2 years and 9 situations, only 2 asked for an appeal. That's 1 a year. So it's not a lot of additional stress or pressure on this board. I cannot help but think of a recent prominent case that probably is impacting my thoughts on this. It is not in Clackamas County, but it was out of the city of Portland. We just had that prominent noise complaint made by Cloud Evangrail, and she sued the city of Portland over the protest outside of the ICE immigration building. She was lived in low-income housing, African-American woman who's disabled. She had, at all hours of the night, had to endure bullhorn sirens, air raids, and then she had to keep her window shut in the high temperatures, and just felt like she, and I quote her from the lawsuit, akin to a torture chamber. She had additional medical issues because of these noises and other things going on, and the temperature. And the judge, Ellen Rosenblum, the former attorney general, ruled that they leave it up to police discretion at that point to whether or not they would enforce those noise ordinances. I only bring up this case because it is very close to us in the metro area, and because we're not, we would not be shocked if somehow, even in our own county, a large protest broke out of some kind. And so we live in like a little bit different era where it's not just construction noises, it's not just, the traditional noise complaints, but maybe in the future, we could have something similar in our own county where there's that kind of unrest, and we maybe have a resident that is having to balance their needs around our local ordinances and then also individuals' First Amendment rights or the heightened political environment. And so how do we balance that? Currently, we don't have like necessarily a big issue going forward, but I think on those more potential future high-profile situations, because we're the elected board, it should come before the board now as it is, because we're accountable to our constituents, and those decisions should be public and in a way that isn't the same access with the hearings officer. This is a little bit of it is a hypothetical, to be fair, but we are in the metro area, and we do live in this time where unrest and loud noises can very well happen in a way that we did not previously experience. That kind of impacts my thoughts around this. I don't know what my colleagues think about it. Traditionally, I don't think it's like a big issue to make big changes on. We would have had 2 in 2 years, if I'm understanding it correctly, so.
You are, and I guess one of the things I want to make crystal clear, and I apologize, I should have shared it during the presentation. The sheriff's office is still the enforcement arm of the noise complaint component. And so it's up to the sheriff and their sheriff's office and their good work to mobilize daytime hours, nighttime hours for any complaints that come forward regarding the noise complaint, and obviously evaluating that against the other issues they're dealing with on any particular site.
So then where would it come? Can I just play this out? We have somebody down in some part of our county, and let's say it's a loud protest and it's been rowdy for a week, and the neighbors nearby are really concerned and they're not sleeping, their kids aren't sleeping, and they're having to deal with this balance, right? Let's say something like that happens somewhere in our community. So the sheriff would go out and handle the immediate illegal piece, or the legal piece of it on law enforcement. Am I understanding that right? And then if there was something, like, would there have to be a citation issued within this process? And then those individuals could come and appeal it to us directly? Or when does it get to the board, and where does that intersect with law enforcement?
I want to be, is my mic on? Yeah. Okay, I want to be clear, the amendments that we're talking about today, it's not changing what sorts of noises are unlawful under the code. This is for noise variances, which is county permission to not comply with the noise variance. So, so people would come to the county and ask for permission. They're planning a concert or something like that. That's typically, the last two that we've had were concerts that were planned.
Okay.
And they say, we have this big concert planned. Can we please have permission to violate the noise ordinance on these days during these times? And where we are changing how those requests are, we are proposing to change how those requests are processed. It would be code enforcement that would make the initial determination on those applications. They'd be appealed to Gary instead of the board. Gary would have more time to issue a decision on those sorts of applications. And we would clarify the criteria that the county administrator would apply. So this isn't changing whether or not a loud protest that doesn't have a variance would be unlawful. It's sort of more narrow what we're trying to get
Could a
at.
protest like No Kings or another group come and ask for a noise variance? Does that, could they, to protest loudly?
They could apply for one, yeah. And then the question would be, well, is that a public benefit? And that would be something for the decision maker to make.
And then
whether
it's a political decision at that point, and then I think it should go before the elected body if it's a political decision, because it's a political activity.
It is
Generally,
political
right?
in that there are policy considerations, but in this case, on an application for a noise variance, it would be a legal decision. The decision maker would be applying predetermined criteria to existing facts and making that call. Public benefit, there is some legal interpretation that would be required to determine
Right.
what that means. But it wouldn't be, we couldn't just do whatever we thought was a good policy outcome. We'd have to apply specific criteria to specific facts.
Okay.
And I want to go back to the question you asked originally, which was that if that were the case, the CCSO in their wisdom would go out there and look at various issues they were dealing with that particular property.
Okay.
This would be one tool within a number of tools they could use to raise issue with the particular event. So if they're blaring horns till midnight and doing whatever, it's like they could cite them for breaking the noise ordinance by county code.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. I think I got a clearer picture. Thank you.
Gary, I'll come back to you after Diana Helm.
Just real quick on the notifications. So you said some of those relate to transportation improvement projects, but then you just used the example of the pouring concrete in the middle of the night. Any other transportation improvement projects, probably you would have a real good heads up, right?
We would notify anybody of any night work well ahead of time.
Right, exactly. And then, but then it puts the onus on a property owner if they were having a concert or a, party at their house that they wanted to go past the time period. It puts the onus on them to do the affidavit, right?
Correct.
And then that has to be returned to us before they can do it.
Correct.
Right? It says like affirming that the applicant has contacted all adjoining property owners. So,
It depends on how we write the code. It could be an application requirement.
okay.
But not but it could also be an approval criterion. We will not approve it
Okay.
unless you provide us with this
Okay,
affidavit.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I want to be sure that would apply to private or public entities as well. And it would apply to these concert scenarios. It would apply to a developer doing the night work, all of the above.
All of the above, okay, all right. Interesting.
And that would have to be weighted, in all honesty, against, what the public benefit may be, so.
Okay.
Yeah, Dan, I want to validate your concerns, and I think it's great having it under you, because I can recall as sheriff, one of the big issues was, just as you explained, is pouring concrete early because of the temperature and meeting all these engineering requirements to make sure that concrete, they'd have to report if it wasn't done right, and then all the neighborhood complaints. And so I think it's having your staff basically have that ability to make that call is really where it should land. And I did want to kind of say, before I turn it over to Gary, is just, I think there's, typically some urgency in getting an answer on some of these things, and that's where I think, I do think it is a good idea to go to Gary and/or we give Gary a lot of work to do, and I almost would see either the administrator or deputy administrator or kind of having, in case you're not available, because I do think that at times, we do need to get back to them as far as what is our decision. I think sometimes it's hard for us as a board to get that all scheduled and kind of meet some of these timelines that come up, because it could really hold a project up that would be financially impact to a business. So that's why I'd be more supportive. And I think if there was anything that was super unusual, Gary, bring it to us and we could even have a discussion about it. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Gary, for your comments.
Thank you. I wanted to answer Commissioner Schrader's earlier question. This all came about because you would get complaints from members of the public about noise. Why isn't the county dealing with this loud, noisy party in my community, or this loud concert or protest, whatever it may be? And that's why in 2020, the board said, let's clarify our noise ordinance. And Chair, you were sheriff at the time. You agreed with changing this from the sheriff's office oversight to our code enforcement. Sheriff Brandenburg agreed as well. I do want to quickly say, so if you read the staff report, which is excellent, thank you, Dan, Caleb, and Emily Klepper helped. This has been 5 years, and I've been administrator the whole time. We haven't pulled this over the finish line yet because it was me. I said, because the board changed 3 times in the last 5 years. I said, there's a new board, let's ask them what they think, and then the new board would change it. So we're here one last time, and we're going to get it done this time to seek your clarity on what you'd like us to do. And as far as the appeals, for me doing it, and yes, if I'm not here, I can sub-delegate it. But really is to save you the time, because it's a very short window, and I can do that in a non-public meeting. But if you want to do it, I'm fine to have you do it. It's just to save time to allow me to do that with staff to be efficient. But that's why we're here, to get it across the finish line after 5 years. Thank you.
And Commissioner West.
Is there an opportunity that if it's a unique situation like the one I brought up, that we may or may not face as hypothetical, that is a little higher profile and an issue, can the board step in, or would it always go to the hearings officer? Or where it would be potential role in a nuanced situation?
We don't have code language yet. It is not unheard of in some counties for the board to step in and, for example, a land use appeal, to take that away from the hearings officer or the planning director to intervene and say, no, we're going to handle this. That would have to be written into the code language. We haven't put pen to paper, well, we have put pen to paper yet, but that would be something that would have to change from what we provided you in your packet.
I would support this if the board had the explicit authority to say, hey, if necessary, we reserve the right to call this up to the board if there's a situation in which, a unique situation in which we should provide that oversight and not fully delegate it only to a hearings officer. I know that other local entities, like you said, in instances do reserve that ability to do so.
Commissioner Helm.
I understand your reasoning for that, Commissioner West, but I think it takes us out of the equation and makes it a more of a neutral party making that decision. I think that is better actually for us as a board.
I would agree most of the time.
Most of the time.
If there's unique situations as the elected body, I think we shouldn't abdicate our role.
Wow.
I think that I agree with Commissioner Helm, okay, at this point. However, I think if something of that nature should come up, we'd be involved no matter what. You might not be the decision makers, but we'd be the ones getting the phone calls, and we'd be the ones talking, It's like we can't, it's not abdicate, it's really just, to me, a streamline, kind of a situation.
Yeah.
I feel, like I said, if somebody called me up, then you're automatically involved anyway. We're never fully out of an equation, no matter how much we would like to be, I guess. I would just make that comment after years of dealing with barking dogs. There you go.
Oh.
There's a noise, all right. Now, there's a noise ordinance there.
Martha's dogs, to be exact.
I never want to speak for the county administrator, but you work very closely with him, and the purpose of this is to get it out of the hearings officer's decision-making rule, because it costs more money. It doesn't necessarily be there. You work closely with Gary and his role as county administrator. If there's an issue that came forward that was of that nature, there'd be a dialogue and a discussion that
would.
It
occurred
would
around
be,
it.
this would
So,
be back as a discussion. I don't think we need to ratify it. I think it's obvious.
and it's only 2. So,
Right.
that's 2 years, but.
All right, are we at a point for a motion?
I move we direct staff to schedule the first public hearing for adoption of amendments to County Code Chapter 6.05, Noise Control Ordinance as presented.
Second, and I'll add hallelujah, we're done for the time being.
What's 5 years?
Yeah, what's 5 years of your life, right? You know, with noise
Yeah.
ordinance.
Commissioner Helm has moved to direct staff to schedule the first public hearing for adoption of amendment to the County Code, Chapter 6.05, Noise Control Ordinance as presented. Commissioner Schrader has seconded with a hallelujah. Is there any further discussion?
I'll say,
Go ahead.
it's not a strong disagreement. I just am not ready to abdicate that total oversight, even in rare situations, which I think, I just want to be prepared for. I just think that there's
Could be.
always ripe for unrest in this metro area specifically. So I will not be supporting this, but I have no heartburn over this issue either. So just on that principle alone, it's where all my vote will land. But,
Understood.
Yeah, but I respect all of you for voting differently if you do.
Thanks for your input.
Yay. Okay.
I think we're ready for a vote.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
No.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1, Mr. Chair.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
And that concludes our final policy session for the afternoon. And again, thank you all for joining us, and we are officially adjourned for the third time today.
That's quick.